Welcome, everyone, to this Clubhouse event. Your energy, health, be responsible with empowering solutions, the power in our practices. I would like to start by raising the vibration in the space that we're in now by calling for the highest possible vibration and calling for the truth to come forward into our discussion this evening, so that we may see the truth in all that we see, so that we may hear the truth in all that we hear, so that we may speak the truth in all that we say. Shall we be in that frequency of truth, and shall we have nothing but the truth? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? I now ask that we all take a sip of water and ask for the water to hydrate our brains and body. Water is a medium that holds memory and will assist in the flow of information that we share here together here on Clubhouse. Now take a deep breath in, bringing in peace, and exhaling out. Take another deep breath in, bringing in joy and gratitude, and exhale out. And take another deep breath in, bringing in life into our bodies. And exhale out, releasing all that does not serve us. And Lakesh Veritas, everyone, I call forth the oneness and truth of the information shared by each and every one of us on this call, calling in that frequency of truth and all that is truth with honor, respect, and gratitude. For those who are unfamiliar with the term, the greeting and Lakesh is a Mayan greeting for oneness, signifying unity, where everything and everyone are interconnected. It is that idea of community where we can share with one another ideas, goals, and aspirations. And veritas is the Latin word for truth, to see the truth in all things. So, therefore, Enlication Veritas is that declaration of oneness and truth in which we are clearing our spaces, the space we're in now, so that we may be able to bring forth a truthful, elevated, and enlightened discussion this evening, clearing away those ill thoughts that we tend to pick up and carry with us from our everyday life experiences. Remember, our words have power. So it is important that we use our words carefully, using words of upliftment, encouragement, and enlightenment. And by doing so as a collective will help us to transform our spaces and places into higher frequencies that will result in better experiences in our lives and assist in raising the vibration of those who we meet. So, Enlication Veritas, everyone, with honor, respect, and gratitude. I would like for everyone to now hold their water again in their hands. And with intention in mind, send the frequency of Enlikesh to your water. And then take a sip of the water, thereby assisting through the signaling, incorporating that elevated frequency of Enlikesh into the cells of our bodies, as we are made up of 70% water. Using this technique will assist in the ease and flow of information that we share together this evening. All right, everyone. So today, I was listening to a segment given by the Children's Health Defense, CHD, on mind control and how the media has taken away some of our sovereignty by posting ads, commercials, news, and movies to brainwash us into thinking a certain way. And I guess that's why they call it television and channeling. So ideally, the purpose of media, the mainstream media, or the media as a whole, is to inform truthful information. So we thought, but as you can see, the major corporations have significant control over the media, making it challenging to discern the truth in the information that is presented to us. So it has become a means of influencing the masses into thinking and behaving a particular way. Again, a way of control. So, for instance, more information is creeping up into the media about normalizing the term pedophilia or pedophilia. So, a few months ago, pedophilia had a revised definition: a minor attracted person. But in a legal sense, it's still illegal, and it involves a pervasive sexual fantasies, urges, or behaviors involving prepubescent girl or boy, generally younger than 13 years of age, in order to be diagnosed as being a pedophile. And the individual must be at least 16 years of age and at least 5 years older than the child to whom they are attracted to. And so that you know, the term is described as sexual attraction to adolescents is a different term, and it's called hebephilia. But needless to say, pedophilia is still, at least today, it is still considered a form of deviant sexual behavior that, if acted upon, it's legally defined as sexual child abuse. So pedophiles who have sexually abused children require intense psychological and pharmacological therapy. That's what they'll say. But prior to release in the community, because there's a high rate of repeated offenders. So as you can tell, the therapies aren't really necessarily effective. But usually those offenders are typically victims themselves when they were young. So several retailers are promoting LGBT clothing, toys, and the like in the children's department. So back in November, Balenciaga had to withdraw stuffed animals dressed in sadomasochist clothing, which caused a public uproar. So Balenciaga ended up making a public apology and took the toys and all that their um, items off their shelves. And it said that, and the stuffed animals, if you saw them, they were dressed in bondage like straps with spikes on them. And it was in relationship to captivity and slavery. So more recently, in honor of LGBT month, Target released pride themed clothing, which also created an uproar and a boycott, causing the Target market shares to plummet. They even created this tuck friendly women's suits concealing the genitalia, I guess for young boys. And I read that families came into the store and just like knocked the clothes off the racks and started even verbally attacking the sales clerks. Has anyone else also heard this information? Now, I do, I have read that there are several reports that several of the LGBT community members, they're not necessarily in favor of reclassifying the definition of pedophilia, which the mainstream wants to lead us to believe that they are. And they too are viewing them, they're just children, young children who are still growing, developing, particularly before the age of 7 years old, of 7 years. This is when their minds are most impressionable. As quoted by the Jesuits, give me a child until 7 years old, and I will show you the man. So again, those first 7 years of a child's life is the most impressionable. I also saw in a news feed about how Bill Gates was in support of this change in the definition of pedophilia and the lifestyle, but I I couldn't find it this time. I don't know if it was removed. Um, However, there are still news media reviews on and feeds on his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So he actually did have a relationship with that Jeffrey Epstein. So you can kind of deduce what went on with that. So, bottom line, powerful corporations want to decide what we are able to watch, listen to, read, and share. And the media merges, and monopolies are trying to silence our voices, raise prices, and limit our choices. Does anyone have any comments? It's like stunning.
In Location Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude.
And Lakeisha Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, Stacy.
So it's been interesting to kind of sit back and watch what's been happening. And something that has broadened my understanding is the idea of if we can confuse the masses, they're less likely to rebel.
Mm,
And with that ideal, thinking about a lot of children who are identifying as queer and transgender, that's confusion. And with that
mhm.
confusion, it leads to so many other aspects of them kind of giving away their sovereignty, giving away their freedom, and knowing what is occurring and what is to occur. It makes sense of what the plan is, unfortunately, but this continuous attack and assault on our children. Yes, they know that they're impressionable. They know that that is an easy target, and they continuously go for them. And something that I
Yeah.
kind of noticed even during the time of homeschooling is that it caused a lot of parent fatigue. And with that parent fatigue, parents were not as able to invest in their children like they were previously. So I kind of see that playing into the plan that is put in place. If the parents can't invest the time and really take care of their children in the sense of their emotional well-being, then that's when they go to mainstream media and they go to their peers and their classmates and try to figure things out too. So the is being presented is less likely. So I haven't been following much of the
Stacy,
the back of the
you're
store,
breaking.
um, which isn't surprising. But what's apologies?
Stacy, Stacy. Oh, you're muted now, but you're breaking up. I'm not sure if it's me or you. Did everyone else
It's
hear her? Because it was
my end.
important
My
statements
internet
that you
is
were
acting a
making.
little funny.
She's going in and out.
She is okay. All right. If you can just repeat the last segment, Stacy, that would be great. If you're able to hear.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
My
you.
apologies. My internet is going in and out.
Yeah. No problem.
But pretty much what I was saying was about parenting fatigue after the pandemic and not being able to really give the attention and investment in children's well-being, emotional
Hmm.
well-being. And so then they go to their peers who are just as confused, or they're going to social media, which we know is social media and just mainstream media in general, who is influencing their development, and the confusion, the mass consciousness of confusion just continues and persists, and therefore the agenda that's been put in place is easier to accomplish. So
Yeah.
that was pretty much,
Mhm.
I think, what I was speaking on.
Yeah. I do agree. So you're talking about the fatigue in parents who had to stay home with the kids or who are working and then come home and they're tired and they can't address their child's needs.
Yes, and
Are you referring to them?
it
Mhm.
was exaggerated, or it was exacerbated during the pandemic and homeschooling and learning that pivot, because a lot of the parents had become a pseudo teacher, so that
Mhm.
role was kind of crossed in so many different ways, so it was just that parents never found that time to just recenter themselves. So then how
Mhm.
can they pour into their children if they are spread so thin and not fool themselves? So it all makes sense, the plan that's in place, unfortunately,
Mhm.
but there are solutions, as we all know, and starting to see
Mhm.
that just speaking to different youth, they have understood is beyond what we would think they have, but then having the standing is correct and it can be support. I think is the next step that is needed because I've talked to a few of my students and the perceptions that they've had about things to ask them like, how did you say you were again? Like, what lifetime is this? Because
Mhm.
but if they're not surrounded by that, they start to doubt themselves, and we know the cycle that comes with that. I'll stop
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Okay. You broke up a little bit, but I think I got the gist of what you were trying to say. Basically, the free thinking of the child is being stifled, and suppressed by, not getting the attention that they need. Because we've got stressed parents, they're stressed, and there's no real true outlet, especially during the pandemic period. Yeah. And I agree. So then what they do is they're feeding into social media and their tablets, their electronics, you know, basically artificial intelligence, which is another discussion that we're going to talk about because it's just a new way to live now with these kids. They don't know a lot. They don't know, like I was talking to, is it was Serenia, and Diane, where these kids, they didn't know about uh that watermelons had seeds, or you know just basic things they just didn't know because they were just so indoctrinated into this society of relying on grocery stores, not learning about how to grow things on their own, being self-sovereign. So it's going to be a learning process, and that's why we're in this reset, because we need to clear out this thinking and this behavior that we're in, and to move into something that will sustain us, allow us to survive. And then kids, I mean, when they're exposed to, persons who have deviant behavior, who is a minor, what's that definition again? Minor attracted person. I mean, at that young age, they think that that's the norm, or they will think that's the norm. And that comes with community. Being isolated, then you don't know what to believe, who to believe. You're only going to believe who's in front of you, what's happening in front of you. So any other comments? But one thing I do know, and I've noticed, is that more and more people are speaking up and asking for the truth to be revealed. And it's important for us to continue to ask for the truth and use discernment to determine what is true, what is right for us, and always ask for what is the truth. So, accessing the truth can be best achieved by having mental clarity. So, what are the things that support mental clarity? Our daily activities and practices is what will help to support mental clarity. Being impeccable with our words, being congruent with our actions will support clear thought. As Laota always says, there's nothing more powerful than the truth. The truth will always win in the end. Keeping an elevated vibration, an elevated frequency allows for us to access the truth more easily. Any comments behind that? Our nutrition, eating live foods, supporting the microbiome in our gut, supporting an alkaline diet, detoxifying our bodies gives us all mental clarity that supports right thinking. There's a frequency water called right thinking that will support it as well. Frequency waters. So clearing those low level energies and low vibrational thoughts inside of us and outside of us can be achieved through property clearing. Quantum light property clearing. This quantum light property clearing is tried and true. Being in gratitude and in joy will also raise our frequency. So like my joy is when I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. And being in an elevated frequency is contagious. It will spread to others. People will see you in that elevated joyous frequency, that frequency state, and they'll say, I want to get some of that. You know, we talked about previously about joy. So what brings you joy? You know, I shared last week of some things that brought me joy. One thing was watching young children being inspired brings me joy. Just seeing that. Singing those R&B songs and dancing from the music back in the day, from the 80s and 90s, that brings me joy too. You know, I recently got a karaoke machine and I used it for my son's graduation party. Now that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was singing my butt off. For our next meeting, I want for everyone to think on and write down what are the things that bring you joy and then do more of it. Any comments?
In the Kesha Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, everyone.
Family Christian Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, Stephanie.
I have been doing the same, Dr. Delilah, with the R&B music, singing and dancing. They had the maintenance men that actually came today to do some work, and I just kept on singing and dancing, and I could see them, um, like their whole demeanor shift.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of like down and kind of grumpy, like I don't want to be at work. And by the time they finished working in the house, they were like, "Oh, you have a great day and see
I
you
know.
later," you know.
I know.
So
I know.
I'm here watching my granddaughter, and we just dance and have fun, and it just brings me joy. Like you said, singing and dancing and bringing back the R&B. And I actually seen on social media, there's a lot of people that are actually asking for the older type genre music to be brought back by the current artists,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a whole different vibration.
It
um,
is.
and the lyrics were more about love and respecting one another.
Yeah.
They didn't have all these vulgar lyrics included. So it, it is a really big thing. And I remember Lyle to saying, if you dance at least 2 hours per day, you can heal your body.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it is a dynamic way to raise your vibration.
Yeah, I know I did because I that's what would get me. I used to drive to school from New York to Nashville, and that was a 16-hour drive. And I would have at the time it was cassette tapes. You know, it tells you how old I am, but you know, that's all right. And I would flip from tape to tape to tape, and I'd do the whole 16 hours, stop for gas, and keep going and singing the whole way through. You know, and then I remember my cousin was telling me, "Oh, well, the neighbors saw you driving on the highway." This was I was on Long Island. They saw you driving on the highway, and you were just singing the whole way. You know, I wasn't paying attention to anybody, but they could see me just singing, me bobbing my head the whole way on the Southern State Parkway, just
Yeah,
going.
yes. That's how I used to get through my work traveling. I live in Virginia, and I was working in DC, and I could, people would be sitting in traffic and I'm just sitting there jamming the whole time,
Mhm. Mhm.
and making my way
Mhm.
home. So it help alleviate the stress. And by the time you get finished singing about 6 to 7 songs, you're almost home.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I do remember I was driving, this is in my younger years, we were driving from New York to, I think it was Maryland, actually, to, just to hang out for the weekend. And it was a standstill over by the in Delaware, that bridge over in Delaware. And it was, I think it was like for 30 minutes. So she turned up her music. We got out the car and started dancing around the car, and everybody was just laughing, you know. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And even my son's graduation party, we had a couple of mothers. They were performers. I was like, yeah, hey, all right. I never knew you had that in you. So it's just such a joyous feeling, and I'm in agreement with you. It's very healing. Very healing.
Yes, it is. It is very healing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else have anything to share about the joys that are brought to them?
Namakesh Veritas on Respecting Gratitude. I wanted to comment, Dr. Delala, about something you said about, not about the joy part, because I do lots of things the crafting and the music and just going outside and watching the birds and just sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
nature. But I wanted to comment about, you were talking about foods and how they change your
Mm-hmm.
whole, the whole tenor of everything. And then the property clearing as well. And I just think like when I'm eating like kind of junky food, like if I get in a kind of like where I'm going moving too fast and not really preparing my food, and I'm eating more snacky, I basically eat well. But there are times when you get to a place where you're running and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna just quickly grab some
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
healthy or whatever, and then the energy is not there, for
Oh yeah,
me.
I
Yeah.
definitely. That's for me also too. That's
Mhm.
why I'm like more conscious of what I eat now,
Mhm.
and it's not just to it's like people eat for enjoyment as opposed to eating for fuel. And Lota would always say that. What are you eating for? Are you eating for fuel or are you eating for entertainment? And that's the entertainment. That's where all that processed food comes in because we are taught. I mean, look at the commercials, McDonald's or whatever the movie is. Everyone's having fun eating that junk.
And you can still eat. I mean, it can still be for enjoyment, but just has to be the right stuff. And so it's supposed to taste good. And she makes a point of making sure that the food that,
Is the
healthy
right
food
stuff.
says, yeah,
Hmm.
it's the right food and it tastes good. It doesn't have to be like I know back in the 60s and 70s when there was a whole bunch of that whole hippie thing was going on and people were eating, like healthy food. It just was bland and blah and ugh. It doesn't have to be any of that.
Well, that's what they were promoting.
Well,
That that's.
that's how they knew how to eat. I mean, they didn't really know how to season the food and stuff, so
Mhm.
they didn't do it, and so people didn't want to eat. So I think a lot of people still think, oh, it has to be like that, and it's nothing like that. If you take the time.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's just we've been conditioned to think that eating healthy is just bland and boring and doesn't taste good. But there's
Right.
so many good things for us that taste good.
Hmm.
We just have to know how to do that. And that's where we come in. We can show them recipes where, hey, yeah, you can eat something that's really tasty and have fun with it.
Right. Enjoy your food. And I also wanted to comment on you were talking about property clearing and how it makes a difference. I was
Hmm.
thinking about my daughter. They have they're around routine property clearing, right? So my daughter goes to this place not so long ago, and the place wasn't cleared.
Hmm.
And I didn't say anything to her. She was just telling me how fatigued she was,
Hmm. Hmm.
mentally and physically. And then I asked her what's going on, and she said, "Oh, I was at blah 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 wherever she was." And I said, "Oh." oh, the place wasn't clear. And I said, did you notice a difference? And she's like, yeah, I noticed. there's a, there's a discernible difference. Because she
Hmm.
just, I was like, why are you tired? You were resting or whatever, the whole time, and you didn't really leave. And she's like, yeah, I just felt exhausted. It just felt so thick, you know.
You
And
know, and I'm glad she gave you the cue in order to respond to it. You know, because I have the same issue with my son. You know, where I was clearing a space for him, and then now he's moved or he's going back. He's going to start working and going to a different place, and I'm like, "Do you want me to clear it?" And he says, "Oh, I'll think about it." So that was my cue to step back. You know, and give him that freedom. So, you know, we'll see. But they always, I find that I think that they always come back because people can really detect the difference between your space being cleared and your space not. You know, you get more sleep, you're at peace when you're sleeping, you know, you have mental clarity, no interferences. You know, it's totally real. It's an energy that is real. You know, and more people are becoming more aware of it. So thank you for sharing that story, Sereni. I appreciate it. All right. Does anyone else have any more comments? All right. Well, I'd like to remind everyone we've got our Evolutionary Book Club meeting tomorrow evening, June 1st at 6:30 p.m. I don't know, Diane, are you available to give some more information on that? Are you available?
In Lakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude.
Amicus and Veritas, on respect and gratitude.
Thank you. Yes, tomorrow night we are going to be talking about The Elves of Lily Hill Farm by Penny Kelly. And it's such a fascinating book, I found. So many things. I thought it was going to be about the elves helping her on her farm, which it is. But it's a lot about her, how she evolved through this whole period of time. And it's fascinating. There's just so many things. I have so many pages turned over, and I have a lot of things to ask. And hopefully, everybody who wants to come will have a lot of questions too. I think it's a good book to really have a lot of discussion with. So,
Yeah. And even if you didn't read the book, you know, you may want to join just to hear the comments that may start to intrigue you to go ahead and prompt you to read the book. But
yes,
I'm
exactly.
Yeah, it's a very, to me, it's an interesting book because I'm reading it right now, you know, and it's her journey learning how she helped the farm. And that leads into the Gloria Gardens, you know, it's the energy behind it, you know, the newsletter that just came out for the May edition, where, you know, a resource of information on how to enhance your garden and grow your food and so forth. And so that was like it's a great book, a great example to show us how to do so, and it's fun. I thought it's a fun, I think it's a fun book.
Yes, and actually, Lauta recommended this book in one of the Glory Gardens. I think it was in the March issue or something. She
Okay.
recommended this book to read. So,
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. So it's June 1st, is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom, and it's completely free. So just go to enlicaststudio1.com to register.
yes, and then
And
after registering, I'll be sending out the link tomorrow for the
okay.
for tomorrow night.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that.
In
Thank
Lakesh
you.
and Veritas.
And Lakesh Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude. So, and then I also want to remind everyone of whole responsibility. That's the sessions are on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Wednesdays, an extended session. Those sessions just previously mentioned are 30 minutes, and the Wednesday session is 45 minutes. You know, a great way to elevate your day, your morning. You know, consistency will help to shift your frequencies of your life circumstances. There's something to consider. And Of the Sun has also another meditation, Dolphins and Whales meditation, given on the first, second, and third Sundays of every month. A great start of the week. And then there's also the Abundance and Prosperity group call hosted by Of the Sun. That's daily, 2:45 and 8:45 p.m., which only lasts for 5 minutes. And you can register on the Of the Sun website, ofthesun.com. And let us not forget our Divine Nation workshop. The next workshop, this is for working with the Call for the Truth Divination cards, a companion to the Call for the Truth publication written by Lota Rasul. And the next workshop is scheduled for Friday, June 9th. So this not this Friday, but next week, Friday at 8 p.m. All right, everyone. So thank you for joining and participating in this discussion. Look forward to seeing you again on the next week to delve as we delve more into more enlightening discussions. Please remember to write down those things that bring you joy. Write it down and do more of it. And remember, knowledge is power, and taking action from this knowledge is true power. With honor, respect, and gratitude, and Lakesh and Veritas.
In
In
Lakesh
the
and
Karshon
Veritas, I
Veritas with
respect and
And
honor,
Lakesh and
respect, and
Veritas with
gratitude.
honor, respect, and gratitude.